There we go. So Friday's class.
Mr. Goodman.
Yes.
I'm on. It's Josh. I'm on 18. My thing won't let me type in numbers.
So with that problem, whenever that you launch remote PC, when you launch remote PC, if you use the web interface, it won't let you type numbers. You have to use the desktop application to type numbers. See what I'm pointing at?
All right. Yeah, I didn't have that problem last semester, so.
Yeah, the web interface won't let you type numbers. So back here at week 1, so we are, let's see if my modules are messed up in this class too. It doesn't look like it's messed up in this class. Okay. My security class, I've got to go through and fix. There's some weirdness going on. So security class right now, only my little blue box off the home page works correctly. The modules links are messed up. I've got one class with a couple of links fixed already, but I'm going to have to go through the whole thing on both classes and fix them for security. But we are down here at the bottom. So Wednesday, we installed and set up servers 1 and 2, and then we're doing this lab setup. We're hoping to get that part that I highlighted done today, which probably should be quite easy to do all of that today. And we can probably move into setting up server 3 possibly and turning off the firewall. Yes. Yeah, let me see here. So no, I just do RO. Yeah. And use dynamic, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm still recording. Yep. The chat window. I see my chat window. Keep hiding my chat window. Oh, now he says thank you. You can see what I'm doing now, right? Ryan? Okay, cool. Trust the old pass 1, 2, 3, 4 amazing secure password. Not really, but
at the high school, it's the same thing except for the A is at symbol.
The BBR school?
Yeah. And I think it's just test 1, 2, 3. Capital P. Yeah. Whatever the A.
1, 2, 3 would work. Microsoft considers 7-character password. That's the default of being secure, I believe. That's their minimum. They were thinking about changing it in later versions of Windows to require 10 or 12 characters as the minimum, because they got rainbow tables out there that's like 10 characters long. Yeah, that's just in the dictionary.
Yeah.
It's a known lab used password used in labs just like this. Look, it's 6:17 a.m. on my virtual machines.
Same here.
We are really, really up with the early bird and getting work done. Oh, look, we had a power outage.
Yeah, I did it.
I'm just going to randomly select something, but actually you can, pick environment. They don't have Hurricane Laura listed as an option, but you could have typed that in. But Hurricane Laura is gone, and they will retire that name since it was a Category 4. I'm pretty sure.
I think by the time it came to Arkansas, it wasn't considered a hurricane. Kind of stopped with the spinning and it was kind of like more of a tropical.
Yeah, they switched to tropical storm. I don't know when it switched to tropical storm. It is up there close to Shreveport, and it's still a hurricane. Pretty close to Arkansas. It's all the Facebook memes like, hey, on your bingo card, who had hurricane for a landlocked state?
I worked yesterday.
Bingo.
Yep. Anybody picked hurricane for Arkansas? Tropical storm. I don't think we've ever been under a tropical storm warning. I can't ever remember being under a tropical storm warning. I got the alert on my phone. Lonoke County, tropical storm warning. What? It doesn't happen up this far. All right. Oh, there's something I need to fix on Canvas. If they renamed everything. My Canvas, there's Canvas. Edit. There we go. I fixed that part. Make sure my file is still there. Yep, there's my key. Um, Hopefully everybody's doing good. I don't hear any questions.
Right now, I'm trying to get my screen like properly so I can be able to do this.
I think it was a share file. For the ISO.
The ISO, so my computer's name is different now. Your ISO should run your C drive. Should be. So yeah, if you browse up there, it should be the SW DVD9 file. It has 2016 in it. Yep. Yeah, I thought it had already been installed on your machine.
Does it matter if it's the V drive?
Yeah, it should be the V drive. Yeah. Did you, you may need to refresh, go back to home and click on week 2. I've changed I fixed it. Yep. Yeah, so if you refresh that or click on home and canvas and then go back, click to week 1 again, it should show you the right. Whack whack BB AT 106 INSD. Yep. We had kind of a problem. They moved all the machines over to a new domain, asub.college, but they left all the user accounts on asub.edu. Let's try to set up a trust relationship. It didn't have a full two-way trust relationship, and it was just really funky. And then I couldn't do Hyper-V, and we couldn't see each other's Hyper-V machines. And so this Hyper-V, I couldn't connect to anybody else's machine in the classroom. There's some other tools that weren't working right. And I decided, well, hey, maybe we can delete the trust between the two domains and reset it up and try to create a two-way transitive trust. And they said, this is the Friday before classes start, Mr. Goodman, let's not do that. I said, well, it's probably a good thing not to do that, but I'm not scared because I don't have to work for IT. And they said, no, Mr. Goodman, please no. So we moved all these machines back to asub.edu. Now we don't know if we're ever going to get rid of the edu. I'm thinking, well, why don't we just migrate everything back and it just work better.
Oh, is it in file folder?
Under share, let me see what you're doing. What are you doing, Jeremiah? It goes right there. Click up above. That's there. And type it in.
Do we need the standard or the data center key?
Standard. And there it is. Yep, you passed it. Yep. Now you're under it again. There it is. I don't have my glasses on and I can see that. Yes, we're standard. You can copy and paste it. When you copy it, you have to go up to clipboard and tell it to paste. When you click inside the bar to paste it. Probably really go get my glasses. See what I'm doing. Cataract. At your age? I was going to say, I mean, it's possible. Bad genetics. How about that? Like, yeah, I'm doing that after I get my domains all set up. Well, did you set it up? Probably not if you don't remember setting up your domains. We just installed, or I just installed. Now Sean's over there speed demon connected and already did all his lab work, so he's probably already got off Zoom and went to the bar for Friday. I don't know if he's He's 21.
I'm still sitting here. If I can get out of here, I guess I'll leave.
I'd say I think that's permission to leave and go to the bar.
Well, what all have you done, Sean? Have you got server 3?
I have server 3 set up and added to the domain.
Okay. Did you add a second? I don't know if we'll get to that part or not. Did you add a second hard disk to it?
I've not done second hard disk, but I don't. Was that on the thing?
I don't think so.
No, that's not listed as stuff to do yet.
I didn't know just how far we would get if we'd get to that point today or not. If you remember, we added a second, I think 100
Yeah.
gig or 50 gig drive or something. I don't remember what we added for.
Yeah, I can do
trading
that.
our shares. What I don't remember, or I don't know if we'll get that far, but we had joined it up as a storage pool and set up data deduplication and stuff on it. Basically, everything that we did last semester, we're doing in the first week or week and a half. Just kind of like a nice big refresher because everybody probably needed that, or some of us needed that.
Hey, Mr. Governor, what am I doing wrong?
How big should this second disk be? 60?
Well, there's the product key. The second drive, I don't remember how big we made the second drive last year.
I think we made it 60 last year.
Yeah, that worked. What did you make your primary drive?
It's also 60.
Okay, that works too. I think I was going to install it with it like 30 and then the secondary drive be 60, but it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to check my notes. What have I done? I've got the time zone set. I've got it activated. I got my IP addresses set. I got the computer names set. And it's all rebooted. I think that's about all on my notes except making it a domain controller. Computer names, IP addresses. Note that third octet is a 2. Don't have like finger memory in type 192.168.0. Watch out for that because they got to be different from all the other classes. Got my time zone set. My Active Directory roles are already pre-set up. And now I'm just at promoting the main controller. Okay. And I hope you remember how to promote the domain controller. That's been a little while, I believe. Just remember, your first one is a new forest when you get to that point.
Hey, Mr. Governor,
Yes. What are you doing?
I was trying to find the Active Directory domain service.
Okay, that would be under server manager. And your little exclamation point at the top. Running that wizard. Hold on, your computer name's not done yet. Your computer name up there? That's not fixed. You got to make sure that computer name, that's not a computer name. That's computer description.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for
First line. And then you'll have to reboot before you can do that wizard. Yes. Yes, you're right. Correct. Make sure your computer name is set. Like that dialog box sound a little bit. Let me make sure. Yeah, see your computer name up there still saying win. You don't want to have to type that all semester long. You want to hit change. That's the computer description. You got to hit the change button. Yeah, you definitely don't want to type that weird name all semester long. You can't have spaces either. Now you have to leave it as work group, and that's not going to work. You can't have spaces. When it reboots, then you can run the wizard, and that makes it a domain. Yeah, make sure you got server 2 named on that one. So yeah, mine here, when you're doing the Active Directory deployment wizard, you got to make sure your target server is the name that you're wanting to type all semester long. You don't want the really weird win dash randomness going on. So Brian's saying he can't type numbers, and we just went over that on numbers. You can't type numbers if you're using the web light interface on remote PC. You have to use the connect via desktop interface. And then even if you're having a little bit of trouble connect via desktop interface, then you try to use the numbers at the top of the keyboard, not the number pad. Next. Server 1 has to be fully set up as a domain controller before you can do anything with server 2. So yeah, I started the wizard, but I can't do anything until I get server 1 completely done, restarted, and booted back up. Then I can move forward with server 2. Actually, server 2 would be better if I joined the domain first before I even tried to run the wizard. I'll remember my best practices from last year. Maybe.
So I'm using the first block for the deployment configuration.
Yeah, let's see.
Because every time I use the wizard,
Yeah, because there doesn't exist yet.
so I have
You have to create it. Click that radio button to create it. Now type contoso.com.
Do we need the DNS delegation?
Yeah, you can ignore that warning. Most things you deploy have a DNS server that's upstream of them. But in our case, we don't have any outside connections, so there's nothing to delegate to,
Anything about net bio?
just the default. Should say contoso, I think, in the NetBIOS name.
That is like one for software.
Are we creating the DNS delegation?
No, you don't have anything upstream to delegate to.
Pretty much we just set the first two and set the,
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing else we don't have a complex multi-domain environment, so setting the contoso.com and the root password or the restore mode password is the only two things you have to set. Jonathan's here. You need to cancel out of those, Jonathan. We've already got all the roles added. So just go to your Ethernet. Let's see. So it looks like your IP address is set, your time zones are set, you got it registered. You need to change the computer names. You change the computer description, not the name, Jonathan. You have to hit the change button. And that's, yeah. Yep. Once it boots back up, Jonathan, the server manager will start, and there'll be the little triangle at the top of the screen, yellow triangle. That's where you launch the Active Directory deployment. And you'll do that on server 1 and get it all set up. No, I'm about to be signed out.
Yeah, -2. This will be nothing?
Yep.
would you do, just add the domain controller to the existing domain? For services? Would you add
Yes.
to another folder?
Now you'd add it to an existing domain.
So it'll leave it your services and the domain. Rather than change the service one of those.
Let me look at your screen. See what you're talking about. Vayon, your number, that number. So your domain is contoso.
Oh, yeah.
Well, is server 2 up and running? It's still starting. It looks like. Yeah, I meant server 1. Yeah, server 1's got to fully start before you can do. And actually, what I'm going to do, it might cancel that dialog box that you're doing and join server 2 to the domain first before you run it. That's what I'm going to do on mine. So I just wait for that to finish. You can't really cancel that dialog box, and I'll jump, and you can watch what I'm going to do. I'm waiting for mine to start up too. So, Jacob said IP addressing. Did you get your IP addressing in as it was stated in the? Now I'm talking to Jacob Lambert. He got the IP addressing in. That's in the Canvas shell. So for the IP addressing server manager, just go to local server and click on the Ethernet controller link when it loads up. Then that'll let you change your IP address. And then the same thing on that same link, you can click on this computer name and make sure your computer name's updated to server 1 and server 2. Haley Smith is being really quiet. Oh, she's counting the dots in the ceiling. Okay. I'll leave you alone. Hi, Haley.
How many dots are there?
This is important information, Haley. I need to know how many dots are in the ceiling.
A lot. That's
I wonder
my
how-
answer.
I wonder how many pencils they got to make all those dots there.
I know.
How much did they get paid to staff this?
What really got me was I was in a movie theater and the ceiling's like about, it's like 40 feet up. And there's spit wads stuck to the ceiling up there. So I'm like, that's basically what I was counting one day because I went to Marino's and ate a large Johnny's combo and I shouldn't have forced myself to eat everything. So I couldn't sit up and watch the movie. I had to lean back and stare at the ceiling the whole time, counting the spit wads at the top. I have no idea what movie I went to see, but I learned not to force myself to eat an entire plate. But I wasn't going home after. I was going to go see a movie, and I didn't want it to get wasted.
Right.
I just wasted the movie ticket
So
price.
when it reboots back up, we're not logging in as the contoso slash administrator. Are we logging in some other different?
You can't log in as anything different.
I thought it was. something like that, so-
That would be on a client. The client tries to log in locally, so you have to change and log into Contoso on a client machine. But on the servers, once it's a domain controller, you can only log in as a domain account. When we get to our Windows 10 or our server 3, That's when we'll have the change over from the local administrator to log into contoso administrator. That's good to remember that there was something though. You remember there's something weird like that going on.
Or the other system.
Okay, so Jeremiah, my server 1 is a domain controller. So what I was going to do over my server 2, I was going to join my server 2 to the domain first, just to make sure I have full connectivity. Before that, I'll run the little triangular wizard up here. Before I do this promote, I was going to change the work group and make sure that I can connect up as contoso. This is also where I would log in differently because I'm making this a client, so I'll have to log in differently when I make this go to a contoso domain. So that's probably the preferred method to make sure you can make connection.
Cannot be contacted for this.
So I clicked on work group and just changed it to domain. And then if you get errors like you can't contact the domain, you either typed it wrong or maybe your DNS settings aren't set correctly in your TCP/IP settings. That'd be the second option. Or the third option, maybe your network adapter isn't set for internal on both VMs. There's several troubleshooting options. That's why I do this step first instead of try to run the wizard. Instead of getting errors in the wizard, can I join the domain first and can I log into it? So let's do some troubleshooting on yours. Elon, it's great to have troubleshooting stuff. Not supposed to work all perfectly. So you're getting an error when you try to log in?
Okay.
Okay. In your server 1, you ran through the wizard, it restarted, and it's all up and running, right?
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead and hit OK on that. And just cancel out of all that. So we got to check first thing your TCP/IP properties. That's always my first step. And I'm checking for the DNS settings. And your DNS settings are empty, so that's what the problem is. You have to have both addresses there, the 192.168.2.1 and 2.2.
Oh, I put that in the IP address.
Yeah, that's right. But you also have to have it down in the DNS server addresses too, the .1 and .2.
Oh, I did not know that.
I've had a single issue that pertains to that, but I didn't do that.
You're welcome. Do the same.
Yeah, just paste it there and then change the top one to .1. Just paste your .2 at the bottom too. You've already got it. No. That's supposed to say 2 up there. The DNS server. Your primary DNS server is your first server you installed. Your server 1, so it should be .1 at the top.
Or here should be
Yeah.
that one.
Yes, that should be .1. That's your domain controller. It's currently running, and you're about to be one too. So that bottom one has to be 192.168.2.2. Both servers are going to be domain controllers, so both those IPs have to be primary and alternate.
Are you saying for server 2 is going to be 2.2 and then the first one's going to be .1? You're confusing me.
Both servers should have 192.168.2.1 as the primary, 192.168.2.2 as the alternate. Server 1 and server 2 should be.
Okay, so this one should be 2 and the top one should be 1.
That's not what I said. I said both servers, listen to me, server 1 and server 2 must have 192.168.2.1 as the primary or preferred.
Okay.
They both have to have as an alternate 192.168.2.2 because they are DNS servers. They are the primary, they are the preferred and the alternate. They're running the DNS service. And any other computer that connects into that domain has to have the same 2 numbers in their primary and alternate. And that's how computers in the network find each other, is because of those 2 addresses right there, the 2 servers running DNS. think you need to start over from the beginning.
This is, this is. What is it?
Yeah.
And then that's the reverse one too?
Yeah, make sure you go hit close on that, yeah. On that other one. Yeah, you have to hit close before it takes it, okay. And just go make sure that the other one, because it will mess up after it upgrades to being a domain controller, it changes its IP addresses. It uses like a 127, and I don't like that. I like to change it to the main addresses. Yep. Let's see, Gabriel, I think you had a question. I was looking at the construction. I think you ran it on your main machine, didn't you? Yeah, you'll just let your main machine boot back up, and you'll go through the. You're gonna have to rejoin it to the domain when it comes up. You click the wrong file explorer window. Rebooted already. Yeah. You might just have to sit back on computer 10 and I'll fix that. I'm gonna stop recording. Pause my recording here. I'll start recording again. So I've joined server 2 to the domain. Now I'll run the promotion wizard on it because it's already a client of server 1. And because I've joined it, it's already gone, and I logged in as administrator at contoso.com. It's pre-filled out some of my options here. I don't have to fill out my user because I've already logged in as a domain user. That's why I like to join the domain first on server 2. And it's already got selected add a domain. It's already got contoso.com in there and my current user I'm logged into. So that's why I joined first. You don't have to. Some of you just promoted it and clicked all the settings and changed and typed in contoso.com. That works too. What are you doing, Andrew?
Hey, Mr. Goodman.
Like, I would supply a user account. Clearly,
Yeah.
That's what mine's doing too.
So you changed and dropped administrator and passed 1, 2, 3, 4 because you either didn't join it first or you logged in as the local admin instead of the Contoso admin. And that means you have to supply it with the Contoso administrator password. The global catalog, if you remember, we normally uncheck that. It can be unchecked later, but we uncheck global catalog on server 2. So I'm unchecking my global catalog on server 2. And if you remember, there's that Souls blog that tells us how to move the flexible single master operation roles. And if you have a 2 domain set up, the second server is not a global catalog and you migrate things over to it, we'll go look at his blog again after it installs and everything's working. We'll also look at how to turn off global catalog if you accidentally had it clicked on. It's not a catastrophe if everything's a global catalog. It says it'll work okay. He had several papers, or there's several different papers on why that it's better to set it up and spread out your flexible single master operation roles to other systems. It was a lot of words and not many pictures, and so I just said, well, I'll just follow what they said works good and not read all of it. Actually, I did read a lot of it. Kind of makes sense. So
I think so.
It's kind of like Einstein. Well, I memorize a whole bunch of junk. If you can write it down, look it up later. I don't need to memorize all the engineering behind it, just that, hey, it functions better.
Or hey,
Especially since I'm not developing applications for Active Directory. I just wanted to control everything, study some other aspects of security.
what's going on now, Jeremiah?
That's a good man, y'all knowing of land when.
So that's Jacob. Let's look over here at him. So you're adding a new forest, Jacob. If he's still around, or if Jacob Lambert knows I'm talking to him. Oh, well, server 2 came up. So for those that are going to watch this YouTube stuff later, if you forgot and didn't turn off global catalog for server 2, what I'm going to do is show you how you can go to the spot to turn off global catalog. And if your server 2 is already up and going, I'll go over how to move those flexible single master operation roles over to server 2. So both tasks require you to open up Active Directory users and computers from the tools menu, server manager. And this is of course after server 1 and server 2 are both domain controllers. So I'll launch the Active Directory tools. And wait for it to load. Server manager is still refreshing itself. So once that's loaded, you can find the main controllers. And if yours says global catalog, the abbreviation of GC out beside server 2, you can change that by going to properties of server 2. Clicking the NTDS settings button on server 2 here and unchecking the global catalog checkbox. That turns global catalog off of server 2. Right. Server 1, you have to have at least one global catalog per domain. And the infrastructure master role and global catalog should not run on the same system. For speed purposes, they do very similar tasks, so it kind of like make something server do double work. So we're going to move over the infrastructure master and a couple of other roles to server 2. And I'm going to expand out my Active Directory users and computers. And I'm going to look at this top link. If it doesn't say server 2, you can right click and change the main controller and select server 2, because that's what we want to move the flexible role over to. As long as you're connected to the server you want to move to, you can right click the domain, click Operation Masters, and click the change button for the red master. It transfers it to server 2. PDC master is server 1. We want to move it to server 2. We click change, hit yes. And the infrastructure master, the main one. And like I said, just to reiterate, the reason that it says server 2 here is because I made sure server 2 was showing up who I was connected to. So I click change. This will take, okay, it didn't take very long at all. So now, if I click through them, the operation master will show server 2 as the master for each one of those. Server 1 will remain the schema master and domain naming master. And server 2 now becomes those 3 other masters. And that is people that were really smart researched how the Active Directory talked and replicated with each other and looked at the load balancing of stuff. For 2 domain setup, that's your best setup for that. You want to learn more details about it, you can go do lots of reading on the flexible single master operation role and their placement in an Active Directory domain network, how you should separate them out and take care of them. That's kind of higher engineering, a little bit beyond this class, other than showing you that, hey, it exists. Here's the best setup for a simple 2 domain setup. If you're going to move on and be a bigger engineer into this, more study you can do on that. Okay, my server 1 and server 2 are set up. I'm going to double check my DNS entries, because as you run the wizard, it goes through and messes up the DNS entries for each of your servers. So I am going to go to properties on each server and verify. So my server 2 is still set correctly. Chat over here asking, do I need a global catalog on server 1? Yes, server 1 must be a global catalog. So you have to have 1 global catalog per domain at a minimum. Server 1, I'm going to check my DNS entries on server 1. And they are most likely messed up. Yep. It replaced 127.0.0.1, which means itself, which works okay. However, it got rid of the second one, mostly because it detected the second one didn't exist yet. So it deleted it, even though we're like, hey, why'd you delete it? We were going to install it just a little bit, but it wiped it out. So I have to put it back in place. Okay, that fully gets server 1 and server 2. They're the full domain controllers. They're all set up at this point. And I was going to install my server 3. So my server 3 down here is just creating a new machine. New virtual machine. We're going to keep the same naming convention that we did before. Monday. Your last name. Not mine. Yes, I'm looking at Jeremiah. Server 3. Same 2nd generation. We'll get it or 4096. It's not ever going to need that much, but use dynamic memory, the internal network connection. And because we're going to we're not going to install the full graphics on it. We're just going to run it as a file server and print server and DNS server and DHCP server, not a DNS server. We're going to do DHCP server though on it. None of that takes a lot of space, and we'll add a second drive to it later for file sharing, as we did last semester. 30 gigs should be good enough on that. If you put 60, it's fine. And this is installing the 2019, just like we did on server 1 and 2.
Did you, do internal, connection?
Yes, internal connection.
Cause, my computer, the number lock again, and I'm sitting here trying to type in 4096, so I got behind because it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I had to hit it again.
What'd you do? No, you just go to edit file settings and go to the network and change it to internal. You may have to shut it down before you can change. No, you shouldn't have to shut it down. So start. Smack the space bar and boots up.
Me in the run-up to when the perverted janitor walked in. So it was like,
Trying to figure out what Gabriel's done. So you've already got. Did you already delete RO? Like, did you run sysprep on it? So that's weird. It's only 4 meg. I don't know what happened. That's got to be deleted, I guess. That's what. I was opening the system. Why is it opening the system?
File did you use for server 3?
There we go. Wait. Hmm.
Just to double check, you made it an internal one, right?
Yes, internal. Oh, that's not resolving for some reason. I cannot ping anymore. Why is it trying to go to 52 dot? That resolves. resolve. Not be resolved into 52. Wanting to go to 52 on that.
My server 3 said bootloader failed when I turned it on.
Family baseball.
Yeah, you have to hit the green play button and spam the space bar. Let me save it. Let me save it. Got it.
I don't think you can do that.
Works sometimes. Some dialog boxes let you drag and drop it. We'll just force it to go to the right. Right one. So what I would do, let's sign out and sign back in. So, one. Let's see. Yeah, the time zone's not set. And we'll just fix that back. Yep, looks like your server one's good, Jacob. Except for the activation. Putting in the activation code. That was in chat earlier. That code.
Oh,
Okay, so we're getting close to the end of class. Server 3, though, I can get it going. Server 3 install was simply selecting the default option when you go to install the top one. Let's look at Jonathan's here. He said he's stuck on server 2. So you got server 2. So what you do on server 2, let me see, am I a remote control? Let me remote control. So let me check your IP address. If you're stuck on server 2, make sure that your DNS settings 192.168.2.1, 192.168.2.2. So if that's good, then you would join it to the domain first. contoso.com. And you just type administrator and pass 1234, and it should join it. Let's see what happens when you're unable to connect. Is server 1 fully up and running? Following occurred. Can we connect to join the domain contoso.com? Because the SID of the domain attempting to join is identical. Something happened with sysprep. I don't know what happened with sysprep. If you didn't check generalize when we did sysprep, then your RO disk is messed up. So at this point, you'll have to delete both virtual machines. If you get a SID error, you'll have to delete server 1, server 2, and start over. So that's a turn off. I don't know what happened with sysprep. So sysprep wasn't done right, and you have a duplicate SID. That's I don't know what your client is there. Your server 1 and server 2, they got to go away. And so with client 1, what is client 1? So you would have to create another virtual machine, Monday RO.
Do I hit customize or use express settings?
Is that a Windows 10 client?
Yeah, I'm setting up server 3.
You would just use express settings. So we're going to have to start this server back up and redo the sysprep on it. Yep. Y'all can start logging off. And y'all can come get Auburn these by. So you can clean off. You're not sitting here the next spot. You're sitting here next spot.
I have, Kelly, okay, then I come in after.
Okay. But regular place is here. That's spot. Just watch everything down. But before not, and share.
Correctly, we're still in COVID-19 over here. But you got security net. Watch everything down. Out there, boys.
Alrighty, so let him, I'm on Jonathan's machine, I think. Yep. You too. All right, so I think Brian's jumping to his next class. Let's see if we can get this one going, Jonathan. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.